Have you ever felt like life's challenges were just too overwhelming? Like the waves of stress, failure, and criticism were threatening to drown you? Maybe you've wondered, how do some people stay so calm, so resilient, even when the world around them seems to be falling apart? Today, we're diving into the secrets of mental strength, inspired by timeless Buddhist teachings that have guided millions through life's storms. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're practical, life-changing tips you can start using right now to build a stronger, steadier mindset. What if I told you that you could stay unshaken, no matter what life throws your way? Imagine being able to handle criticism with confidence, bounce back from setbacks with ease, and even transform self-doubt into self-love. Sounds empowering, right? Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll have 3 actionable strategies that can change the way you face life's toughest moments. But before we get started, let me ask for a little support. If you're ready to take control of your mental strength and want more videos like this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if something in this video really resonates with you, consider hitting that super thanks button to support our work. It means the world to us and helps us create more meaningful content for you. Share this video with a friend who might need a little extra strength in their life. All right, let's get started. Mental strength is a quality that allows individuals to navigate the complexities of life with resilience and clarity. In today's world, where stress, criticism, and failure often seem unavoidable, developing this strength is more important than ever. Buddhist philosophy, a tradition rooted in understanding the nature of the mind and its reactions, provides timeless insights into cultivating a strong mindset. By delving into its teachings, we can discover actionable practices that help us stay calm in chaos, bounce back from adversity, and build a deeper sense of self-compassion. One of the core principles in Buddhism is the concept of equanimity, or the ability to remain steady and composed amidst life's inevitable ups and downs. The Buddha described this through a powerful metaphor: a rock that remains unshaken by the wind. This rock symbolizes the wise, who are not swayed by praise or blame, gain or loss, pleasure or pain. These contrasts, known as the 8 worldly conditions, are universal experiences. They teach us that life is inherently unpredictable, and the key to mental strength lies in how we respond, not in attempting to control the uncontrollable. Take, for instance, the experience of receiving praise and criticism. It's natural to feel validated by praise and hurt by criticism, but relying on external validation can create an unstable foundation for self-worth. Imagine an artist who receives widespread acclaim for their work. Their confidence soars, but a single negative review leaves them doubting their abilities. This fluctuation is a common human response. However, a strong mind recognizes that external opinions are fleeting and not definitive reflections of one's true self. Instead of being overly attached to praise or consumed by criticism, the mentally strong maintain an internal balance, rooted in self-awareness. Another essential aspect of mental strength is resilience, the capacity to recover quickly from setbacks. Resilience is not about avoiding pain or challenges, but about facing them with the understanding that they are temporary and surmountable. A story often shared in modern contexts is that of Thomas Edison, who famously remarked, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." When reflecting on his attempts to invent the light bulb, this mindset of learning from failure and persevering exemplifies resilience. In Buddhism, this is akin to recognizing the impermanence of suffering. Pain and hardship are inevitable, but they are not permanent. By accepting this truth, we can approach challenges with a calm determination to find solutions rather than becoming overwhelmed by the problem itself. Resilience also requires understanding the difference between what is within our control and what is not. In Buddhist teachings, this idea is emphasized through the practice of mindfulness, which involves observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment. For example, when someone speaks harshly to you, their words are beyond your control, but your reaction to those words is entirely up to you. This perspective can be transformative in everyday situations. Imagine a professional who is overlooked for a promotion despite their hard work. While they cannot control the decision-making process, they can choose how to respond by seeking feedback. improving their skills, or exploring new opportunities. This proactive approach not only strengthens the mind, but also empowers the individual to take constructive actions. Cultivating a mindset of self-love and self-compassion is another cornerstone of mental strength. In a world where comparison and self-criticism are pervasive, learning to treat oneself with kindness can be revolutionary. Self-love is not about ignoring one's flaws, but about accepting them while striving for growth. A common analogy used in this context is that of a garden. Just as a gardener tends to their plants with care, removing weeds and nurturing growth, we must care for our minds, discarding negative self-talk and fostering positive habits. This process might include simple practices like starting the day with affirmations, such as, "I am worthy of love and respect, regardless of what happens today." An example that resonates with many is the story of J.K. Rowling, who faced rejection from multiple publishers before finding success with Harry Potter. Despite these setbacks, she persevered, driven by a belief in her story and her ability to share it with the world. Her journey underscores the importance of self-compassion. Rather than letting rejection define her, she treated herself with patience and continued working toward her goal. For anyone facing their own struggles, this serves as a reminder that setbacks do not diminish your worth or potential. Another way to practice self-compassion is through setting boundaries with negativity, whether from others or within ourselves. Think of negativity as trash accumulating in a bin. If you never empty the bin, it begins to overflow, creating a toxic environment. Similarly, if you hold on to negative comments, past failures, or self-doubt, they can consume your mental space. By letting go of this trash daily through practices like journaling, meditation, or simply affirming, "I will not carry this negativity into tomorrow," you create room for growth and peace. It's also worth noting that mental strength does not mean suppressing emotions. On the contrary, acknowledging and processing feelings is a vital part of developing a resilient and compassionate mindset. Imagine someone who loses a loved one. Suppressing their grief might create the illusion of strength, but true resilience comes from facing the pain, allowing oneself to mourn, and eventually finding a way to honor the memory of their loved one while moving forward. This balance between vulnerability and recovery is a hallmark of a strong mind. In summary, building mental strength requires a combination of mindfulness, resilience, and self-compassion. It involves recognizing the impermanence of life's challenges, focusing on what we can control, and treating ourselves with kindness through every twist and turn. These principles, though rooted in ancient Buddhist teachings, remain profoundly relevant in modern life. By practicing them, we not only navigate life's storms with greater ease, but also discover a deeper, more enduring sense of peace and fulfillment. Mental strength, as understood through Buddhist teachings, is the ability to remain steadfast in the face of life's inevitable challenges and fluctuations. It is not merely about suppressing emotions or pretending to be unaffected by difficulties. Instead, it involves cultivating a deep awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and reactions, enabling us to respond with wisdom rather than impulsiveness. The Buddha often illustrated this concept through powerful metaphors, one of the most enduring being the image of a rock that remains unshaken by the wind. This metaphor, drawn from the Dhammapada, encapsulates the essence of mental strength, a state of inner stability that persists regardless of external circumstances. The rock metaphor highlights the ideal of resilience. Just as a rock withstands the force of storms without losing its structure, a mentally strong individual endures the highs and lows of life without being swayed by them. This doesn't mean the person is emotionless or indifferent, but rather that they possess an inner equilibrium that prevents them from being overtaken by temporary situations. For example, consider a public figure who receives both applause and criticism in equal measure. While many might find themselves elated by praise and devastated by blame, a mentally strong individual approaches both with equanimity, understanding that neither defines their true worth. They remain grounded, knowing that external opinions are fleeting and often influenced by factors beyond their control. Central to this idea is the Buddhist teaching of the 8 worldly conditions, which describes the inevitable dualities of human experience, praise and blame. gain and loss, fame and disgrace, pleasure and pain. These conditions are not only universal, but also cyclical, affecting everyone at different points in life. The Buddha taught that true mental strength lies in understanding these conditions for what they are, temporary and external, and not allowing them to dictate one's inner state. Praise and blame. The first of these dualities are perhaps the most relatable. Many people derive a sense of identity or self-worth from the approval of others, while criticism can feel like a direct attack on their character. For instance, imagine a student who excels in academics. When praised for their achievements, they feel motivated and valued. However, if criticized for a single mistake, their confidence may waver. This fluctuation illustrates how dependence on external validation can undermine mental stability. A mentally strong person, on the other hand, acknowledges praise and criticism without becoming overly attached to either. They see praise as encouragement and criticism as an opportunity to learn, rather than as absolute judgments of their worth. Similarly, gain and loss test our resilience by challenging our attachment to material and emotional possessions. Consider the experience of receiving an unexpected financial windfall. The joy it brings can be immense. But if that same individual later suffers a significant financial setback, the loss may feel devastating. The mentally strong recognize that material wealth is impermanent and does not equate to lasting happiness. They learn to appreciate gains without clinging to them and to endure losses without losing their sense of self-worth. This perspective can be applied to relationships as well. Losing a loved one, whether through separation or death, is one of life's most profound challenges. While the pain of loss is inevitable, mental strength allows one to grieve without becoming consumed by despair, finding meaning and growth even in the midst of heartbreak. Fame and disgrace present another duality that tests mental fortitude. In today's world, where social media amplifies public recognition and criticism, this condition feels more relevant than ever. A content creator, for example, might experience a sudden rise in popularity due to a viral post. The validation from thousands of likes and comments can be intoxicating. But if the same individual later faces public backlash for an unpopular opinion, the fall from grace can be equally overwhelming. A strong mind remains undisturbed by both fame and disgrace, recognizing that public perception is fickle and often shaped by trends, biases, and fleeting moments. By focusing on intrinsic values rather than external validation, such individuals maintain their integrity and peace of mind. Pleasure and pain, the final pair of conditions, are perhaps the most fundamental. From the simplest joys, like enjoying a delicious meal, to the deepest sorrows, such as enduring illness, pleasure and pain are constant companions in life. The Buddha taught that clinging to pleasure leads to suffering, as it creates a cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. At the same time, resisting pain only intensifies it. Mental strength involves embracing both experiences with acceptance, understanding that they are part of the natural flow of existence. For example, a runner training for a marathon might experience the pleasure of reaching new milestones, as well as the physical pain of pushing their limits, rather than avoiding discomfort or becoming addicted to the thrill of success. The mentally strong runner learns to appreciate the journey as a whole, with all its highs and lows. These 8 worldly conditions challenge resilience by constantly pulling us in different directions. Praise makes us crave more approval, while blame makes us doubt ourselves. Gain fuels attachment, while loss triggers fear. Fame inflates the ego, while disgrace crushes it. Pleasure creates dependency, while pain provokes avoidance. The mentally strong person breaks free from these cycles by cultivating mindfulness and equanimity. They observe these conditions as they arise, acknowledging their impact without being controlled by them. An everyday example of this principle can be seen in professional athletes. Consider a basketball player who experiences both the thrill of victory and the disappointment of defeat. A mentally weak player might become complacent after a win or spiral into self-doubt after a loss. A strong player, however, maintains focus on their long-term goals, using each experience, positive or negative, as motivation to improve. They understand that neither victory nor defeat defines their career. It is their consistent effort and attitude that matter most. Building this level of mental strength requires consistent practice and self-awareness. Mindfulness meditation is one tool that helps individuals observe their thoughts and emotions without judgment. For instance, when feeling the sting of criticism, a mindful person might pause, take a deep breath, and reflect. Why does this bother me? Is this criticism valid? Or is it a reflection of the other person's perspective? This practice creates space between the stimulus, criticism, and the response, emotional reaction, allowing for a more thoughtful and constructive approach. Another practical technique is journaling, writing about experiences of praise and blame, gain and loss, fame and disgrace, and pleasure and pain can reveal patterns in how these conditions influence one's emotions and behavior. Over time, this self-reflection fosters a deeper understanding of one's values and priorities, making it easier to navigate these dualities with grace. Ultimately, mental strength through the lens of Buddhist wisdom is not about achieving a state of perfection or detachment. It is about living with awareness, balance, and resilience, recognizing that life's challenges are opportunities for growth rather than threats to one's stability. By embodying the steadiness of the rock and embracing the impermanence of the 8 worldly conditions, we can develop a mindset that thrives in the face of adversity and remains unshaken by the winds of change. Life is inherently unpredictable, filled with moments of joy and sorrow, triumphs and setbacks. One of the most critical components of mental strength is maintaining a stable mindset in the face of these inevitable ups and downs. The foundation of such stability lies in accepting the impermanence of life. Nothing lasts forever, neither success nor failure, happiness nor sadness. This realization, while sobering, is also liberating. It allows individuals to approach life's fluctuations with a sense of calm and balance rather than being swept away by extremes of emotion. The importance of accepting impermanence can be understood through a simple analogy. Life is like an ocean. At times, the ocean is calm and serene, its surface reflecting the sunlight in tranquil ripples. At other times, storms rage across its waters, creating massive waves that crash violently. A fisherman who relies on the ocean for his livelihood must face both conditions. If he expects the ocean to always remain calm, he will be unprepared for storms and will suffer greatly when they arrive. Conversely, if he constantly fears storms, he will miss the beauty and opportunities the calm waters provide. The fisherman's success and peace of mind depend on his ability to adapt to the ocean's changing nature, rather than resisting it. This principle applies universally. Consider a modern entrepreneur navigating the unpredictable world of business. At the height of success, it's easy to feel invincible, as though the good times will never end. But markets shift, consumer preferences change, and unforeseen challenges can derail even the most promising ventures. A mentally stable entrepreneur understands this. They celebrate successes but remain grounded, knowing that challenges are just as likely to arise. When failures occur, as they inevitably will, they do not view them as the end of the road, but as opportunities to learn and grow. By embracing impermanence, they avoid becoming overly attached to either success or failure, maintaining a clear and balanced perspective that allows them to make thoughtful decisions. The tools for cultivating this stable mindset are mindfulness and self-awareness. Mindfulness, at its core, is the practice of being fully present in the moment, observing thoughts and emotions without judgment. It creates a space between experience and reaction, enabling individuals to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. For example, imagine someone receiving unexpected criticism at work. The initial reaction might be anger or defensiveness, but a mindful person would pause and examine their feelings. They might ask themselves why the criticism feels upsetting and whether there is any truth to it. This moment of reflection can transform a potentially heated exchange into a constructive dialogue. Self-awareness complements mindfulness by helping individuals understand their emotional triggers and patterns. It involves recognizing how past experiences, personal insecurities, or societal expectations influence one's reactions. For instance, someone who struggles with feelings of inadequacy might take every setback as confirmation of their perceived failure. By cultivating self-awareness, they can begin to identify these patterns and challenge them. Instead of internalizing failure, They learn to see it as a natural part of the learning process. A practical way to develop this stability is through daily mindfulness practice. Start with a simple exercise. Set aside 5 minutes each morning to sit quietly and observe your thoughts and emotions. Focus on your breath and notice when your mind begins to wander. When it does, gently bring your attention back to your breath without judgment. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to stay present and grounded, even in the face of life storms. Another exercise is to create a mental pause button. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by strong emotions, take a deep breath and count to 10. Use this brief pause to assess the situation objectively. Ask yourself questions like, is this as urgent as it feels? Or what can I do to address this calmly? This simple technique can prevent impulsive reactions and help you maintain a balanced mindset. Stories often illustrate these concepts more powerfully than abstract ideas. Consider the tale of the fisherman again. After years of struggling with his fear of storms, he began to see them differently. He realized that storms, while dangerous, were also temporary. By preparing his boat and learning to read the weather, he not only survived the storms, but became a better sailor. Similarly, the calm days on the ocean were no longer taken for granted. He cherished them for the peace and opportunities they provided. His acceptance of the ocean's dual nature brought him a sense of stability and gratitude that extended beyond his work. A more modern example involves a young entrepreneur who launched a tech startup. In its early days, the company experienced rapid growth, garnering attention and investment. But as competition increased, sales plateaued, and the entrepreneur faced mounting pressure. Initially, she was devastated, questioning her abilities and fearing failure. However, she decided to shift her perspective. She analyzed what had gone wrong, sought advice from mentors, and redefined her goals. Through this process, she discovered that failure wasn't the opposite of success, but an integral part of it. Her resilience and stable mindset not only helped her navigate the downturn, but also led to the company's eventual resurgence. These examples highlight a crucial truth. Stability doesn't mean avoiding life's ups and downs. It means engaging with them fully, without losing your inner balance. By accepting impermanence, practicing mindfulness, and developing self-awareness, you can cultivate a mindset that remains steady no matter what the day brings. This stability allows you to approach life's challenges with clarity and confidence, turning obstacles into opportunities for growth. Resilience is one of the most valuable traits for navigating life's challenges, and it begins with a simple yet profound realization: understanding the distinction between what is within your control and what lies beyond it. This clarity allows you to direct your energy toward meaningful actions while letting go of unnecessary worry about things you cannot change. It is a mental framework that not only reduces stress, but also enhances your ability to bounce back from adversity with strength and determination. Imagine a situation where you are harshly criticized, perhaps unfairly, by a colleague at work. The natural reaction might be to feel anger, embarrassment, or even a sense of injustice. However, none of these emotions change the criticism itself. What's within your control is your response, whether you choose to let the comment affect your mood and actions, or instead use the moment as an opportunity for reflection and growth. This ability to pause, assess, and respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively is the essence of resilience. A famous example of this can be found in the teachings of Buddhist monks. In many Buddhist traditions, monks are encouraged to accept criticism without anger, seeing it as a reflection of the critic's state of mind rather than their own worth. One story often shared involves a monk who was verbally insulted by a villager. Instead of retaliating or becoming upset, the monk calmly asked, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The villager, confused, answered, "To the one who offered it." The monk smiled and said, "Then I do not accept your anger, and it remains with you." This story highlights the power of resilience not as resistance to emotions, but as the ability to detach from negativity and maintain inner peace. The concept applies universally. In the modern workplace, for instance, resilience often determines success. Consider a scenario where an employee faces a conflict with a difficult manager. The manager might frequently criticize their work without offering constructive feedback, creating a toxic environment. A reactive response such as arguing or quitting impulsively might provide temporary relief, but often leads to further stress. A resilient individual, however, would take a different approach. They might start by reflecting on what aspects of the situation are within their control. Can they improve their communication skills to clarify expectations? Can they seek mentorship or advice from a trusted colleague? If the situation cannot be resolved directly, they might explore opportunities elsewhere, but do so with a calm and deliberate mindset rather than as an emotional escape. This approach not only preserves their self-respect, but also positions them for long-term growth. Resilience is not about suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about acknowledging challenges and setbacks while choosing not to let them define you. This mindset can be cultivated through practical exercises, such as journaling. Journaling is a powerful tool for identifying what is within your control and what isn't. Start by writing down a specific situation that has been causing you stress. Divide the page into 2 columns, one labeled "Within my control" and the other "Beyond my control." For example, if you're facing a tight deadline at work, the "Within my control" column might include steps like organizing your tasks, seeking help if needed, and prioritizing effectively. The "Beyond my control" column might include things like unexpected technical issues or your supervisor's changing demands. By visually separating these factors, you can focus your energy on actionable solutions and release the mental burden of uncontrollable elements. Resilience also involves shifting your perspective on failure. Failure is often viewed as a definitive setback, but in reality, it is a natural and essential part of growth. Thomas Edison's response to his many failed attempts at inventing the light bulb exemplifies this mindset. When asked about his repeated failures, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This reframing of failure as a step toward success demonstrates the resilience of someone who understands that setbacks are temporary and can provide valuable lessons. In daily life, resilience can be seen in small, relatable moments. Consider a parent managing the chaos of raising young children. A child's tantrum in the middle of a crowded grocery store can feel overwhelming, especially when accompanied by judgmental looks from strangers. A resilient parent doesn't internalize these reactions or spiral into frustration. Instead, they focus on what they can control, calming the child, managing the situation, and reminding themselves that the opinions of others are not their responsibility. Over time, these small acts of resilience build a stronger and more adaptable mindset. Another practical way to build resilience is to practice gratitude. Even in challenging circumstances, gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right, fostering a sense of abundance rather than lack. For example, if you lose a job, it's natural to feel disappointed and worried about the future. But taking a moment to reflect on what the experience taught you, whether it's new skills, connections, or personal growth, can help you reframe the situation as an opportunity rather than a loss. This doesn't minimize the difficulty, but rather gives you the strength to move forward with a positive outlook. Resilience is also about embracing the impermanence of all experiences, both good and bad. Just as joy doesn't last forever, neither does pain. By reminding yourself that difficult times will pass, you create a sense of hope and perspective that can carry you through even the darkest moments. This perspective is not about denying reality, but about seeing the bigger picture and trusting in your ability to adapt and grow. In summary, building resilience inside the mind requires a clear understanding of what is within your control and a conscious effort to focus on those elements. It's about learning to bounce back from setbacks, not by denying their impact, but by approaching them with clarity and determination. Whether through journaling, reframing failure, or practicing gratitude, resilience is a skill that can be developed over time, empowering you to navigate life's challenges with strength and grace. Cultivating self-love and self-compassion is one of the most powerful steps you can take to build a strong and resilient mindset. At its core, self-love acts as a shield against negativity, protecting you from the toxic effects of external criticism, internal self-doubt, and the unavoidable challenges of life. When you truly love yourself, You approach the world with a sense of worthiness and strength, making it much easier to face obstacles without losing your inner balance. Self-love doesn't mean selfishness or arrogance. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a close friend. Many people struggle with this concept because they are conditioned to equate self-worth with external achievements or the approval of others. However, this dependency makes the mind vulnerable. When you base your value on how others perceive you, every critique feels like a blow, and every failure seems catastrophic. True self-love creates a foundation of stability where your worth is not tied to external circumstances but arises from within. A useful analogy is that of a mental trash bin. Throughout the day, you accumulate mental clutter, negative comments, stressful encounters, self-critical thoughts. If you don't take the time to empty this bin regularly, it starts to overflow, affecting your mindset and emotional well-being. Much like a physical trash bin that begins to smell if left unattended, your mind becomes overwhelmed and cluttered when negativity is allowed to accumulate. The practice of self-love involves cleaning out this mental trash on a daily basis. This means consciously letting go of what doesn't serve you, whether it's the unkind words of others, past mistakes, or unreasonable expectations. The importance of this practice can be illustrated through the story of a gardener. Imagine a gardener who tends to their garden every day. They water the plants, remove weeds, and nurture the soil to ensure that the garden thrives. If the gardener neglects these tasks, weeds will overtake the flowers, and the once beautiful garden will become overgrown and unmanageable. The mind operates in the same way. Daily acts of self-care and self-love are like removing weeds from your mental garden, ensuring that positivity and growth have space to flourish. A more personal example of cultivating self-love might involve overcoming self-doubt. Consider someone who has struggled with feelings of inadequacy, perhaps due to a series of professional setbacks. Each rejection, whether it's a failed job application or an unsuccessful pitch, feels like further evidence that they are not good enough. Without self-love, these experiences can spiral into a damaging narrative of failure and unworthiness. However, by practicing self-compassion, they can begin to reframe these experiences. Instead of interpreting setbacks as proof of inadequacy, they see them as opportunities to learn and grow. This shift in perspective doesn't erase the pain of failure, but allows them to move forward with confidence and resilience. One practical way to cultivate self-love is through morning affirmations. This simple practice sets a positive tone for the day and reinforces a sense of worthiness and inner peace. Each morning, before diving into the demands of the day, take a moment to sit quietly and repeat affirmations like, "I choose peace and love today," or "I am worthy of love and respect." These statements might feel awkward or forced at first, especially if self-love doesn't come naturally. But over time, they can rewire your thought patterns, making it easier to approach yourself with kindness and acceptance. The power of affirmations lies in their ability to counteract negative self-talk. Many people are their own harshest critics, replaying mistakes or failures in their minds and allowing these thoughts to dominate their self-perception. Affirmations serve as a conscious interruption to this cycle, replacing self-critical narratives with empowering ones. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm so bad at this, I'll never succeed," an affirmation like, "I am capable of learning and improving," creates a more constructive mindset. Another key aspect of self-love is setting boundaries with negativity, whether it comes from external sources or internal habits. Imagine being surrounded by people who constantly criticize or undermine you. Without strong boundaries, their negativity seeps into your mental space, making it difficult to maintain confidence and peace of mind. Practicing self-love means recognizing that you have the right to protect your emotional well-being. This might involve limiting your interactions with toxic individuals, learning to say no to unreasonable demands, or simply reminding yourself that other people's opinions do not define your worth. On a similar note, self-love also requires setting boundaries with yourself. This means being mindful of the ways in which you might sabotage your own happiness, such as through procrastination, overcommitment, or perfectionism. For instance, Someone who constantly pushes themselves to meet unrealistic expectations might feel a sense of accomplishment in the short term but risks burnout and resentment over time. By practicing self-compassion, they can learn to prioritize their well-being and recognize that their value is not tied to how much they achieve. Cultivating self-love also involves embracing imperfection. In a world that often glorifies perfection, whether through social media, professional accolades, or personal achievements, it's easy to feel inadequate when you fall short. But the reality is that no one is perfect, and striving for an unattainable standard only leads to frustration and self-criticism. True self-love means accepting your flaws and viewing them as part of what makes you human. This doesn't mean ignoring areas for improvement, but approaching them with patience and a willingness to grow. For example, think about a child learning to ride a bike. They might fall several times before mastering the skill, but a loving parent doesn't criticize them for falling. Instead, they offer encouragement and support, reminding the child that falling is a natural part of the learning process. Self-love involves treating yourself with the same patience and kindness, recognizing that setbacks and mistakes are stepping stones to progress rather than reflections of your worth. In conclusion, self-love and self-compassion are not luxuries but necessities for building mental strength and resilience. They provide a buffer against life's inevitable challenges and create a foundation of inner peace and confidence. By practicing daily affirmations, setting boundaries with negativity, and nurturing a kind and supportive relationship with yourself, you can cultivate a mindset that thrives even in the face of adversity. This isn't about ignoring difficulties or pretending to be invulnerable, but about recognizing your intrinsic worth and approaching life with a sense of love and acceptance that begins within. Buddhist principles offer profound insights into navigating the complexities of modern life. By applying these timeless teachings to contemporary challenges, we can develop a practical approach to emotional regulation and resilience. One key idea in Buddhism is the concept of impermanence, the understanding that everything in life, whether joy or sorrow, success or failure, is temporary. This awareness helps us manage expectations and avoid becoming overly attached to outcomes, an issue particularly relevant in a society driven by achievement and external validation. For instance, in modern relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, people often struggle with toxic dynamics. A person might remain in an unhealthy relationship out of fear of change, attachment to past memories, or societal pressure to maintain appearances. Buddhism encourages us to examine the nature of these attachments and recognize when they cause more harm than good. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning people, but rather releasing the expectations or dependencies that fuel suffering. This practice of detachment can be liberating, allowing individuals to set healthy boundaries while maintaining compassion for themselves and others. Imagine someone working in a high-pressure job where their boss frequently undermines their efforts. The immediate reaction might be frustration, anger, or self-doubt. However, applying the principle of mindfulness can transform how they perceive and respond to the situation. Instead of letting emotions spiral, they might pause and observe their thoughts, asking themselves, is this criticism about my work valid? Or is it a reflection of the manager's own stress or insecurities? By separating their sense of self-worth from external feedback, they can respond with clarity rather than emotional reactivity. This shift not only protects their mental well-being, but also fosters a more constructive approach to conflict resolution. Societal pressure is another area where Buddhist teachings can provide clarity. Many people feel trapped by the expectations of their families, peers, or communities. Whether it's the pressure to achieve a certain career milestone, conform to cultural norms, or present a flawless image on social media, these demands can lead to anxiety and burnout. Buddhism teaches us to examine the origins of these pressures and question their relevance to our authentic selves. Are we pursuing these goals because they align with our values? Or are we driven by a fear of judgment? By cultivating self-awareness and practicing self-compassion, we can begin to prioritize what truly matters to us, rather than what we think others expect. Practical frameworks for emotional regulation are essential for navigating such dilemmas. One effective method is the pause and reflect technique. When faced with an emotionally charged situation, Take a moment to step back and assess the triggers. Ask yourself 3 questions. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What can I do about it? This process creates space between the stimulus and your reaction, enabling a more thoughtful response. For example, if a friend cancels plans at the last minute, your initial reaction might be disappointment or irritation. Instead of immediately expressing those emotions, you might pause and consider whether their cancellation was due to unavoidable circumstances. This practice not only strengthens relationships, but also helps you manage your own emotional energy. Another practical approach is journaling, which can help you process emotions and gain clarity on recurring patterns. For instance, if you frequently find yourself stressed by interactions with a particular person, journaling can reveal whether the stress is caused by their behavior, your expectations, or a combination of both. Writing down your thoughts allows you to see them from a more objective perspective, making it easier to identify constructive solutions. A modern application of the Buddhist principle of self-compassion can be seen in how people handle failure. In today's fast-paced world, failure is often viewed as a personal shortcoming rather than a natural part of growth. This mindset leads to shame and self-criticism, which can hinder progress. Buddhism reframes failure as an opportunity for learning and self-improvement. Imagine an athlete who falls short of their performance goals. Instead of berating themselves, they might analyze what went wrong, seek advice from mentors, and set new, realistic goals. By treating themselves with kindness and acknowledging their efforts, they not only improve their performance but also maintain a healthy sense of self-worth. Meditation is another tool for applying Buddhist principles to modern life. A simple mindfulness meditation practice involves sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, and observing your thoughts as they arise. This exercise trains your mind to acknowledge emotions without being overwhelmed by them. For example, if you're feeling anxious about an upcoming presentation, meditation can help you recognize the anxiety without letting it consume you. Instead of thinking, "I'm going to fail," you might observe, "I'm feeling nervous because this presentation is important to me." This subtle shift in perspective can reduce the intensity of the emotion and help you approach the situation with greater confidence. The Buddhist emphasis on interconnectedness also provides a valuable framework for dealing with interpersonal challenges. When someone acts hurtfully, it's easy to take their behavior personally. However, Buddhism teaches us to consider the broader context of their actions. Perhaps they are acting out of their own pain or insecurities. This understanding doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but allows us to approach the situation with compassion rather than resentment. For instance, if a coworker snaps at you during a meeting, instead of reacting defensively, you might recognize that they are under significant stress. This perspective can defuse tension and create an opportunity for empathy and collaboration. One of the most relatable dilemmas is the feeling of being overwhelmed by life's demands. Between work, family, and personal aspirations, it's easy to feel stretched thin. Here, the Buddhist principle of middle way can be particularly helpful. The middle way encourages balance, avoiding extremes of overindulgence and deprivation. In practical terms, this might mean setting realistic goals, prioritizing self-care, and learning to say no when necessary. For example, a working parent juggling multiple responsibilities might decide to delegate tasks at work or ask for help at home, recognizing that they cannot do everything perfectly. By embracing imperfection and focusing on what truly matters, they create a more sustainable approach to their commitments. In conclusion, expanding Buddhist principles into modern contexts reveals their timeless relevance. Whether it's managing toxic relationships, navigating societal pressures, or coping with failure, these teachings offer practical tools for emotional regulation and resilience. By practicing mindfulness, self-compassion, and balance, individuals can cultivate a mindset that not only withstands life's challenges, but thrives amid them. Through deliberate reflection and thoughtful action, we can create lives that are grounded in inner peace and guided by our most authentic values. Developing mental strength is a journey that requires deliberate effort, consistency, and a willingness to confront life's challenges with a balanced mindset. The 3 key principles explored: maintaining stability through life's ups and downs, building resilience inside the mind. And cultivating self-love and self-compassion are not just abstract ideas, but practical tools for navigating the complexities of modern life. Each principle offers a pathway to greater emotional balance, a deeper sense of self-awareness, and a stronger ability to thrive even in the face of adversity. The first principle, maintaining a stable mindset in life's ups and downs, reminds us that impermanence is a natural part of existence. Whether experiencing joy or hardship, praise or criticism, we must learn to accept these moments as temporary. By practicing mindfulness and self-awareness, we gain the ability to observe our emotions without being controlled by them. This practice allows us to approach life's fluctuations with grace, much like a rock that remains unshaken by the storm. Building resilience. The second principle emphasizes the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. By focusing our energy on actionable steps rather than worrying about uncontrollable factors, we cultivate a mindset that can adapt and recover from setbacks. Resilience is not about avoiding pain or failure, but about learning to rise above them. It's about recognizing that challenges are opportunities for growth and that our reactions, not the events themselves, define our experience. The third principle, cultivating self-love and self-compassion, serves as the foundation for emotional well-being. Self-love acts as a shield against negativity, enabling us to navigate the world with confidence and peace. By cleaning out our mental trash bin daily and practicing affirmations, we reinforce a healthy relationship with ourselves. This principle encourages us to embrace imperfection, set boundaries, and treat ourselves with kindness, creating a stable inner environment from which strength and resilience naturally emerge. Practicing these principles daily is essential for embedding them into your life. Consistency is key, whether it's dedicating a few minutes each day to mindfulness meditation, journaling to process emotions, or repeating affirmations to cultivate self-love. These practices may seem small, but over time they create profound shifts in how you approach challenges and maintain balance. Reflecting on your own mental strength is a vital step in this journey. Take a moment to ask yourself, how do I respond to life's ups and downs? Do I let setbacks define me? Or do I view them as opportunities to grow? Am I kind to myself? Or do I allow negativity, whether internal or external, to dictate my self-worth? These questions can serve as a starting point for deeper self-awareness and guide you toward meaningful change. The call to action is simple yet powerful. Commit to practicing these principles in your daily life. Start small, perhaps by observing your reactions to a minor inconvenience, or taking a few deep breaths before responding to a stressful situation. Gradually, these small steps will build into habits that strengthen your mental resilience and enhance your overall well-being. As you embark on this journey, remember that mental strength is not about being unbreakable or unaffected. It's about being adaptable, self-aware, and compassionate, both toward yourself and others. Life's storms will come and go, but with these practices, you can remain steady, grounded, and unshaken. May you find the strength to navigate life's challenges with grace, and may you be unshaken by life's storms. We've just explored 3 powerful tips to help you build unshakable mental strength, staying stable through life's ups and downs, bouncing back with resilience, and cultivating self-love and self-compassion. These aren't just ideas to think about. They're practices that can transform your daily life if you commit to them. Take a moment to reflect. Which of these tips spoke to you the most? Are you ready to embrace the impermanence of life's challenges? Focus on what's within your control, or finally start treating yourself with the love and kindness you deserve. Remember, mental strength isn't about being perfect or unaffected by life's storms. It's about learning to adapt, to rise, and to stay grounded even when the winds blow hardest. So, I encourage you to take what you've learned today and put it into action. Practice mindfulness, journal your thoughts, and make self-compassion a daily habit. If this video has inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use these tips in their own journey. And if you'd like to support our channel, please consider using the super thanks button below. It's a great way to help us continue creating content that makes a difference. As we close, let me leave you with this thought. Life will always have its storms, but you have the power to remain steady, unshaken, and full of purpose. Keep growing, keep reflecting, and keep building the strength that lies within you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.